This video is with regard to the Environmental Approvals System OneStop, and the purpose of the video is to take a look at the quick reference guides. This video will focus on the Initiate Water Act Amendment Application Quick Reference Guide. To find the guides, click on the following link or scroll down the page. It will provide you with an outline of the reference guides, as well as a table associated with the application purpose, example activities, and the quick reference guides used to submit an application. An amendment application is for the changes to the terms or conditions of an existing approval. The guides are listed below the table, and the other guide that we may use associated with an amendment application is the Import Digital Spatial Data into OneStop guide, which we'll get to in a little bit. To access the system, you can take a look at the EAS OneStop Getting Started instructional video, as well as the information on how to access EAS OneStop, which goes through how to create an account, as well as how to log into the system. Once you have an account, you can click on the following link, and it will bring you to the following page, where you'll enter in your appropriate account information. In this video, we're going to be working in the user acceptance testing site, so please don't submit an application into the site as it will not be reviewed for an official decision. This is the home page associated with an applicant, so it shows the applications that are in either technical review, draft, or in this case, we want something that's already been authorized or approved. To find the authorization or information that we need to enter in to submit an application, we would click on the appropriate authorization, or we would search for an authorization, which we'll show you in a minute. So we can click on View, and the information that we need to enter in is the activity ID of an authorized document, or under Documents, you can click on the actual document, and it provides you with an approval number, which is the same as the activity ID. So anything that's been authorized, you're looking for the approval number. So I'm going to copy this information. I'm going to go back to this page, and in order to amend something, you click on Operate and Amendments. This would bring you to the following page with the Authorization tab highlighted, and you can enter in the authorization number. You can also enter in the authorization holder as well as location information associated with it, so you can enter in one or all of these pieces of information. So I'm just going to paste this information into here and click on Search. This provides me with the following record where I can click on the following action of either View or Amend. Now I'm going to take a look at how to search for authorizations that were issued outside of the Environmental Approval System OneStop, because you can also amend Water Act approvals outside of the system, or from outside of the system. We're going to go to the authorizations issued under the Water Act or APIA page. We're going to go to the authorization viewer, and as an example, I'm going to use the City of Edmonton. In this case, the page would come up with these two boxes checked, but we only want to do a Water Act amendment. So we're going to go to this page, we're going to click on Water Act Approval, and then click on OK. Then we can search for the documents. It'll bring up the second page where it'll show you all of the authorizations for Water Act approvals by the City of Edmonton. The information that we need are the following digits. We will not copy the preceding zeros or the ending zeros because it will not search those within the Environmental Approval System OneStop. It'll give you an error. So I'm going to copy that by pressing Control-C on my keyboard. I'm going to go back into the system, and I'm going to search for the following. Actually, I'm going to duplicate this tab is what I'm going to do so I can show you both pieces of information. So we have this authorization within the Environmental Approval System OneStop. We can go to Operate Amendments. We can paste in the number of a legacy document, so I'll show you what that means in a second. So if I click on Search, I can go to Actions, I can click on Amend, and then it provides me with the authorization number, the effective date, the expiry date, the fact that it's a City of Edmonton authorization holder, and the activity type is legacy. So this means that the document has been authorized outside of the Environmental Approval System OneStop. Next, I can take a look at this document. I've clicked on Search. I'm going to go to Actions, and I'm going to go to Amend. In this case, we have the authorization number, effective date, expiry date, the authorization holder, and the fact that the activity type is not legacy, but flood control. So we're going to go through an expiry date extension in full. So the information that you need is a description of the request, attach supplemental documentation if you need to, and in order to do the amendment purpose, you click on expiry date extension, and then click on the following calendar item to extend that expiry date. Click on the appropriate date, and then enter in the appropriate information. And that's just an example document. Once you've clicked on I accept disclaimer, take a look at the disclaimer, take a look at the fact that we're looking at the application information, the online system, and the collection of personal information under the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. The request for confidentiality may be submitted for any trade secrets, process, or technical information that you have in your application that should be kept confidential. And you take a look at the Water Minister regulation as to the information that you require in order to do that. And you need to submit that with this application. So you could click on I disagree and then go back and attach that particular piece of information. If you click on I agree, this application can be saved for up to a year. So you don't have to submit the application right away if you want to double check or you need to provide additional information. Once you submit the application, then you can no longer change the application. So it is all locked down, and the internal to the department, we can't change the application either. So it means if any changes are required, then you need to withdraw the application. So I'm going to click on yes. And this provides me with the amendment number, which is listed here. And it's also listed at the top left-hand side of the page. This will bring me back to my home page, where it provides me with the fact that there's a draft of an amendment, as well as the one that we just submitted that is in technical review. So the draft that we've got is the second one here, where we'll take a look at the other processes under the amendments. At any point in time, if you need to get rid of this, then you can click on delete draft, just as a side note. The amendment purposes of authorization holder change opens up the fact that it's the existing authorization holder of the City of Edmonton, and then you can amend that to be an individual or a company. Now, you need to make sure that you're representing the City of Edmonton, or that the City of Edmonton is willing to give this authorization to you. So if you click on individual, you need to have the individual as they are listed in My Alberta Digital ID, their proper first name, proper last name, and the email address that has been entered into the system. If you're looking to change it to a company, then what you do is you search for the business associate, and you search by their name or their business ID, and then click on select. Again, this has to be an account that they've created through My Alberta Digital ID for business, and they have to have at least logged into the system once. So anybody that is looking to search for somebody within the system, they've had to have logged into the system at least once. So in other words, the Environmental Approvals System OneStop. Now you can click on whether it's on Crown land or private land and enter in the appropriate description information. You can click on one or more of the amendment purposes. So if we needed to change a condition, add a condition, or delete a condition, then we could click on that button too as well. We could enter in the appropriate description associated with it. And if the area was going to change, in other words, there's going to be an expansion of the area, or the land location information was going to change, then we could go through and we could create a shapefile. And that's where the import digital spatial data into OneStop quick reference guide comes in, because if you've created your own shapefile, then you need to know the appropriate format, attribute types, as well as the projection that's required associated with this particular file. But you don't need to format all of that information. You can click on create shapefile within the system, which is basically searching for a land location. This brings up a map, and you can change this file name if you so choose. You can click on start. You can zoom to a land location. So I'm going to take a look at the land location that was here. And it's the southeast of 25, 51, 25, west of the 4th. And let's say I wanted the southwest of 25, 51, west of the 4th. Click on continue. And it will zoom to the land location that's listed here. Now you can accept this land location if you need to see the spatial information associated with it. So in other words, a picture or a map, then you can go to the layers file and you can turn off the appropriate information. In this case, it would be the municipality. and then we can take a look at that particular area, making sure that it's appropriate. We can accept this file. When you see this window, click on No. You can leave the unique ID as it is, and then you can generate the shapefile. Noting that I'm working in Google Chrome, because once you download this file in Google Chrome, it will send it to the downloads folder. If you're working in Internet Explorer, then you need to pay attention to where that was saved, and you need to copy this link because it will save it to a temporary file folder each time. Now I can close the shapefile builder. I can go back to my application. I can attach the document. And I can submit the shapefile. Once the shapefile is submitted, it will process that shapefile. Now you can take a look at the disclaimer, the same as before. You can save the application for up to a year, and you can submit that application too as well. To take a look at your applications, you can go back to your home page and you can take a look at a draft. So in other words, you can click on Edit, and you can go back through this information and you can change it as appropriate. An application that's been submitted that is sitting at a status of either technical review or another status, and you have a lead reviewer assigned, you can take a look at and view, but you cannot change the information. So I cannot add additional information associated with this. I can download the information that I've already entered in and I can view it, but I cannot change it. So going back to the home page, if you have any additional questions associated with the system, please don't hesitate to ask. You can go to the Environmental Approvals System OneStop page. You can take a look at the contact information. You can send in a request for technical support associated with the system and any errors associated with it. You can submit for business questions, whether it's questions associated with the Water Act or questions associated with process within the Environmental Approval System OneStop. And you would send that to easonestop.support@gov.ab.ca. And you can also click on this following link. If you have any questions associated with My Alberta Digital ID or My Alberta Digital ID for Business, then submit it to the following email address, myalbertaid@gov.ab.ca, or contact them at the following number. As the Environmental Approval System OneStop does not review this information, Service Alberta actually manages My Alberta Digital ID and My Alberta Digital ID for Business. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful, and have a good day.